I want to simplify for you why, and give you the reasons in a simple way, a digested way, why diabetes is a risk factor for so many diseases. What is diabetes? Diabetes happens when your cells cannot take sugar. We don't want to go into the details. That means most of the sugar you take is left cruising around your bloodstream, which and causes a lot of havoc. So I want to explain to you why diabetes is a risk factor for so many diseases, so many of them, almost all diseases that we call lifestyle diseases, they follow after diabetes. So I want to give you the science in a simplified version why diabetes is a risk factor in so many of these diseases. Now, as a geneticist, I study genes, I study human DNA. I'll tell you from a geneticist point of view. Now, we have discovered hundreds of genes that are responsible for your lifespan. You know, when we look at these genes, we can even tell how many years you can live and how many of those years you can live healthy, depending on the condition and the kind of the condition of the kind of instructions that those genes are giving to other parts of your body. There are hundreds of them, but we have noted that the majority of these genes are involved in areas or in systems of nutrient sensing, and especially in the insulin systems. I said especially in insulin systems. So the majority of these genes, longevity, that can makes one man to live for 70 years and another one to live for 120 years. The majority of these genes are in the nutrient sensing system, and especially the insulin system. Okay? So sugar and proteins, you know, sugar acts with proteins. Sugar cannot act alone. Are at the point, are at the center of longevity. I have had a lot of stories, reading stories, some people saying that you know, diseases are caused by genes. You know, this gene, my DNA, my father, you know, what I inherited. It's not true. Diseases are not caused by genes, because genes, you know, when you look at the DNA is just a code of instructions. You know, it's just like in a computer, it cannot act alone. It has 4 letters which make an alphabet of more than 3 billion, you know, characters. Now, it cannot act on its own. We will go back, I will explain this to you in a detail later when we come to epigenetics. But in a few instances, like once in a million or maybe once in 500,000, depending on which disease that we are talking about, you can receive 2 sets of genes from your parents, you know, and when they meet, you can get a disease, but it's very rare. Let me explain why diseases are not caused by genes. Something like cancer, I've had people saying, you know, we have cancer in our family. The thing is, we don't even have a gene for cancer. So how can genes cause cancer? You get me? Let me simplify this for you in this way by giving you an example that you can relate to. You are traveling with an airplane from, let me say, Mombasa to Mumbai. Mombasa in Kenya to Mumbai in India. That means you are flying over the Indian Ocean. Now, once in a million or once in 500,000 flights, one of the planes might fall into the Indian Ocean. Okay? 1 in a million times, or 1 in 2 million, or 1 in 5 million. You know, the odds are not likely. Now, just because one plane fell into the Indian Ocean, you cannot say that aeroplane usually lands in the Indian Ocean. Okay? Aeroplanes actually usually land on a runway. It's only that one of them landed in the Indian Ocean. It's just the same way that one disease can be caused by genes. It's rare. It's rare. Now, diabetes is not caused by genes. Diabetes is caused, diabetes happens when your cells cannot take sugar. Now, what happens? Diabetes, why it is a risk factor for so many lifestyle diseases, is because diabetes happens in a process called glycation. All right? Now, glycation accelerates your aging, cellular aging or biological aging. So when you have diabetes, you have an accelerated process of glycation. That means you are aging faster than other people. For instance, if you are living for 10 years as a healthy person, or if you have another disease which is not diabetes, you live for 10 years, the person who have diabetes biologically will have lived for 15 years or 20 years or 30 years, depending on his lifestyle. So when you have diabetes, you age faster. And when you age faster, you also contract other lifestyle diseases which are caused by what we call aging, biological aging. Let me give you an example. When you have diabetes, you also have a process of like we mentioned senescent cells. These are cells which are in a permanent state of arrest. When you have diabetes, actually your senescent cells multiply faster. What this means is that your arteries will get what we call calcifying, will calcify faster than other people. That means you'll get a cardiovascular disease faster than other people. Okay? Senescent cells are also responsible for kidney failure. I don't know why, more than any other organ, science does not know why exactly why the kidney is affected by cellular senescence than other cells, dead cells. Because it may be because the kidney is a very small organ and it does a lot of work. Because when you have diabetes, the kidney is one of the organs that is hit very fast. Because one thing, the kidney is very sensitive to cellular senescence. Now, when you have diabetes, the insulin that is released by your beta cells of your pancreas in response to rise of glucose in your bloodstream, you need insulin to transport the glucose. But in some other areas, you do not need insulin to transport the glucose, like for instance in the brain and in the nerves. So you have a case, you have seen so many cases of people having to get their limbs, your fingers, your toes, or even your legs amputated because of diabetes. It is because of what we call neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy, that is caused by damaged nerves. So you see, this is another disease of cellular aging. Okay, it's because enough blood cannot be transported. Your lymphatic system is broken down. Your nerves are damaged, so you are prone to getting this kind of condition. That is called peripheral neuropathy. It also affects you when you have diabetes. The same case with glaucoma, the same case with arthritis. Because diabetes, I'm talking about type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is a risk factor for almost all lifestyle diseases, because diabetes accelerates your level of cellular aging. Why? Because of the reason I gave you when I started this video. I gave you the reason. Most of the genes that are responsible for your age, for how faster you will age, are involved in insulin systems. And insulin systems, that it starts with diabetes. So the best thing you can do for your health today is to take measures that will either reverse diabetes if you have diabetes, or eliminate the chances of getting diabetes in your lifetime. You cannot get diabetes because of genes. No, you are not going to. It's a lifestyle disease. There's a lot of talk about genes. It doesn't work that way. My grandmother died of diabetes, complications. She was an Indian. The woman who gave birth to my father was an Indian. She died because of diabetes. My father died because of complications of diabetes. Two of my brothers, younger than me, died because of diabetes. No, they didn't die. They are still alive. They have diabetes. And one of them is having complications of the diabetes, including glaucoma. But I can tell you, I will not get diabetes because I know how diabetes works. It is a lifestyle disease. Diabetes can be reversed. But you need certain lifestyle. You need to take certain steps to reverse diabetes. You cannot reverse it by taking medicine. Medicine can only manage diabetes, just like the way we manage cancer. Some types of cancer cannot be cured. So we just have a therapy, chemotherapy and those kind of things to manage it, not to cure it. So diabetes can be reversed, but you cannot cure diabetes by medicine. We don't have a medicine for curing diabetes, but it can be reversed.